creative friends. This is Joy coming to you with another art journal page. So on this particular art journal page, I decided to do a drawing and a painting of a giraffe, a mama giraffe, and her baby giraffe. So I found a couple of pictures in my stash of giraffes that I thought I could reference to get the correct shape and somewhat correct coloring and details to paint the giraffes on this art journal page like I was wanting to do. So here I'm just trying to quickly sketch out the giraffes on this art journal page so that I can proceed with painting, and it, you know, ended up being a little bit more of a challenge than I thought it would be with that long neck. So I had to make a few adjustments, but I eventually got it sketched out to where I was happy with it. And I got this new set of headphones and speaker here, and I'm trying to get used to this and figure out, the best way to use it. And last couple of videos, I wasn't completely thrilled with the quality of the you know recording, but hopefully this will be better. So anyway, like I said, I just did a quick sketch here just to kind of get the general shape and idea for these jars, and then I just grabbed some acrylic paint, and this is just, I think it's apple barrel. It's just a craft paint that I use. I'm not using any kind of expensive acrylic paints for this because it's just an art journal page, that I'm making here, or drawing here, or painting here, I guess. So I don't really see the sense in using expensive, acrylic paints to do that. So just to get some kind of coloring on the background, I grab my watercolor paints and I just quickly throw down some different shades of green because I thought that the green would be a nice contrast to the colors in the draft. So that's why I decided to use green on the background here. And I kind of like to do kind of like a different colored, mottled kind of background. But so that's why, I decided to use several different colors of green here in the background just to kind of get that mottled look. Nothing too fancy or too complicated. And plus I'm not, excuse me, I'm trying not to have too wet of a brush because I want to make sure that, for one, it dries quickly. And plus I didn't gesso the page or anything like these, paintings of animals I've been doing in my art journal. I didn't bother gessoing any of the pages, so I don't want to get it too wet. Even though I think that the paper in this particular art journal is like a mixed media, so it's a heavier paper. It would still, if I got it too wet, start to, I think, peel up, and so I didn't want that to happen. So here I decided to start with the base color, which is this tan, and then I'm adding little bits of color from chocolate brown and like a rust color and some orange to add some shadowing and highlights to the animal. And I can only do it in small sections because, again, this page has not been gessoed, so the paper really soaks up the paint, and it dries fairly quickly. So I have to try to do any kind of blending of shadow color and highlight colors as quickly as possible while it's still wet, which with, like I said, the paper soaking up the color, and these being acrylic paints, happens fairly quickly. So I continue just to go, through the different areas of this animal, and, trying to get the colors down on the animal, and then the shadowing and the highlighting as best I can. And like the some of the areas, like on the ears there, when I was trying to put in the darker colors, it wasn't as dark as I would have liked it to have been. So some of the areas I did have to kind of let it sit for a little bit to dry, so that I could go back in with the darker color and make it, darker, because it was blending. It was doing what I was trying to do on the other areas. It was blending, but at that, in that area, I wanted it to be, not blend so much, and be darker. So I'm using this. I thought this tan color would be the perfect background or base color for the animal, which I guess it was, but it, I had to lighten it up by adding some white to it, because it just was too darker than I wanted it to be, and more yellow than I wanted it to be, I guess you could say. I wanted it to be more of a weak color, so I, lightened it up with the white to the color I wanted it to be, and then I used the color as it was to add shadow areas, if that makes any sense. So I decided to first I'll get the base color down on both of these, and then go back in and do the detail work with adding the spots and whatever their details need to be added to the eyes and the nose and the mouth on these animals. So that's basically what I was trying to do here, just kind of get down the base color and the highlights and shadows on these animals first, so that I could go back in and then, like I said, do the detail work. So here I'm working on the little baby giraffe, and I've been, seeing on the news about a giraffe that had a baby here recently, and I just thought, oh, that'd be kind of neat to, do a painting of a giraffe in my art journal. And so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this. And I do like the way that this turned out. It turned out, I thought it turned out really cute, even though when I was done with it, I felt like I probably could have done more, I guess. I could have gone back over some of the areas and did more highlighting and shadowing. But yeah, you get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm good with it. I'm done, and I'm tired of, working on this. And what do they say? The famous saying that paintings and artwork is never complete. It's abandoned. So that's kind of, what happens with me. I play and do, work on art journals as long as it's, I'm engaged and having fun. But, when I get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm over it, it's done, then, and I'm tired of fussing or messing with it, then I'll usually just consider it complete. So you'll see what I mean at the end. But, like I said, was pretty happy with the way it turned out. So yeah, here I'm going back into those ears to make it darker like I wanted it to be. And the nose was a little too orange, so I kind of toned that down a little bit. And then here I'm going in and doing the spots on the giraffe. And somewhat, using the picture as a reference, but not really exactly. I mean, you can't do it exactly. You just kind of go with the flow and just start filling it in. So here I just kind of skipped ahead because I don't think you guys want to sit and watch me just put in these spots on this animal. But I just continue to fill in the spots on the body of the mother giraffe, and now I'm working on the baby giraffe to try to fill in the spots on him. And on the mother giraffe, I tried to make the spots to where there was no pattern to them, but on the baby giraffe, looking at the picture, he seemed like he had more of a patterning to him. So I did that on him, but then after I, was done with it, I wasn't completely happy or thrilled with it, but I wasn't gonna, I could have covered it over and started over, but I wasn't going to. I was like, you know what, it's good enough. So I wished I would have on the baby giraffe made the spots more random and not so much of a pattern, but it is what it is. So there you go. But like I said, in the end, I was happy with the way that they turned out. And here I'm trying to kind of make the spots not so, I guess, square or whatever, trying to make them a little bit more elongated or, a little bit of a different shape. So that's pretty much putting on the spots. I mean, I didn't really mix anything. It just so happened that chocolate brown turned out to be a nice color for the spots. And I'm using a little bit of a black for the eyes and the nostrils on both of them, which I don't know. I've heard where, oh, you're not supposed to use black. You know what? I use it all the time. I don't really care. I mean, I like the look of the black. I think it, to me, just stands out and is a nice contrasting color. And there's times where, you know, the black is too strong, and I will tone it down. But on this, it was fine. And I put a little bit of highlight in the eyes. So that's what I'm doing there. And then I guess, I don't know if I guess I've never really, I don't remember or paid a whole lot of attention, but giraffes have manes. So, and they're kind of a reddish orange color. So that's what I'm doing here on the little baby giraffe, coloring his little mane. And I do the same on the mother giraffe. And then add a few more details to these for highlighting and shadowing and whatnot. But pretty much, yeah, this is pretty much the page coming together here, and this picture of a giraffe. And my next video is where I take all of these colors that I had left over from this and made a art journal page, a giraffe themed art journal page, and used the pictures here that I used as reference for this to put on an art journal page. So you'll see that in my next post, and it turned out really cute. But if you guys like the videos, like seeing the videos I put out, I would appreciate it if you hit the like button. And you can also hit the subscribe button to see more videos if you've not subscribed to my channel yet. Or you can leave me a comment. I would certainly love to hear from you. I like hearing from people and what they think, about the art and the videos that I put out, whether they like it, they don't like it, well, I suppose if people don't like it, they just would unsubscribe from my channel and not watch the videos. But anyway, or if, there's anything that you'd like me to paint, I'd certainly be, interested in hearing that. Because I'm always thinking and trying to come up with, okay, what's the next animal I'm going to paint, and I got tons and tons of of pictures of different animals. So I usually will just look through and pick out one that, kind of, appeals to me or calls to me, and it's like, oh yeah, that's a good one. I'll do that this time. So I do enjoy doing these videos and doing these journal pages. So I certainly will continue to do that. And plus, doing my mixed media art journal pages, those are fun to do just to play and have fun as well. So here I'm just doing, like I said, the finishing touches of highlights and shadowing, and I could have probably done more, but I was happy, like I said, with the way it was looking. So I finally had gotten to a point where I was, decided it was done. So just the final touches on this, and that's pretty much the journal page for this week. I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching my videos, and we'll talk to you guys again later. Have a good week. Bye-bye.